Good. You're in Richmond and it's raining, and I'm in Virginia Beach and it's raining. So yeah, kind of a gloomy day here.
Gloomy day. Yes, indeed.
I know. Well, we wanted to pop on another live, and we were kind of going back and forth by text about what to talk about, and it just dawned on me that you had the privilege and honor to meet the monks as they were traveling their 2,300-mile journey a few weeks back. And I thought, oh my gosh, I want to talk about that because I'm just curious and I want to know. So yeah, here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Yes, it was a beautiful experience. It was during the time here in Richmond where we had just had this big snowstorm, and then the temperatures had dipped down to frigid temperatures, and we were traveling. We came back to town to see our home looking like a skating rink, literally frozen, completely frozen. The water was frozen, everything was frozen. And I knew that the monks were, heading our direction, and so wanted to see them. And so many of my friends had already sort of, you know, done that. And I thought, well, and there comes this opportunity for us to visit them, not really out into the, where they were walking, but really as they were going into this university, the Virginia Union University. And the president there, President Lucas, he invited my husband to come and present a pin, a lapel pin. As you know, that they were collecting these pins for his garb, the lead monk. And we're like, yes, we've got to go. So we did. Mike and I went, and it was a beautiful experience as these monks came up on stage and they were, sharing their wisdom. There was one other monk who spoke about, um, you know, uh, what what it means to be a monk and how important it is for us to show tremendous respect to our elders. And he spoke at great lengths about his relationship with his mother, and how in being a monk they have to renounce not just physical comforts and comfort and other things, but also separation from you know their parents, their biological parents. And he spoke about that. But then we had this other monk come up, the leader monk, which I think most of you may have heard about him, if not seen him in person, or at least he's everywhere. And he is um, uh, Bhikkhu Panyakara. I think I got it correct.
That's right.
The venerable monk, the venerable monk. And so he has this amazing personality, and he came on stage and he gave us a big, beautiful talk about his how he decided to go into monkhood. And he had this conversation as he was sharing his story with us. He had had some experience in India. He went to India. There's a place where I had actually visited back in the 90s in Dharamshala in India, where the monks get trained. It's like a training school for them. And I believe he had also gone there, and he was talking about how he had attained enlightenment, just where Buddha had attained enlightenment. And we made a quick connection. I was in the audience with the rest of the faculty, students, staff in the audience. It was a packed auditorium, or the space was jam packed. Students were on the floor seated. And after the time with them, they were supposed to be leaving, or rather, we were supposed to be leaving too, because the monks were to be sleeping that night. VUU was hosting them as well. So what happened was he finished his talk. It was full of wisdom. He also was so generous with his time. He was up there answering questions of our students, of the students and faculty members, some great questions. And I felt that connection, it was instant connection. It's almost like I was one of many in the audience, and we had this eye contact going on while he was giving the speech. And then after that, he stepped, it all ended and we were supposed to be leaving. But I noticed that the lead monk came down from the stage, and he started walking towards our direction,
Oh my.
coming directly toward me. It was a safe distance. It was a good distance away, but it was this very strong connection that we each had with, one another. I think it's something to do with, I don't know, the light, the enlightenment,
Mhm.
some connection. Clearly, he had it too, so did I, and we just kind of just the gazing, bowing down, and just showing tremendous respect for one another. He did the same. And it was just this very strong bond and connection. And later he asked me if I would come and stand next to him. And of course, there were the press photographers taking pictures. And
Mhm.
as they left, and as we were leaving, also, he turned back, and that bond just stayed on. And after I returned back home, I said to my husband, I said, there was something there, there was some type of like a spiritual connection, really, if one can say that, something very strong. And I think it's because he has also had years and years of meditation, and a penance, and giving up comforts, and from my work as well, from having the near death experience, and then after that, my own sort of awareness into who I truly am, who we are, and then with my work helping clients to find themselves as well. I think that must be the similar connection that we might have had, because in his work as well, now more so than ever, he's this big figure. Everybody's,
Mhm.
noticed them, and what I felt most connected to is how they have chosen to walk those miles, as you
Right.
mentioned, 2,300, 2,300 miles walking. And we watched them walk bare feet on icy ground, um,
Mhm.
despite of being, having health issues. And there was one monk who had been hit by a car, and he had his leg amputated, and had a, and despite that, he continued either walking or maybe on a sort of a movable chair that he walked through.
Mhm.
I think we are learning some very deep lessons from their life.
Mhm.
And that's what I think the United States is, as are other countries as well, but the US for sure, we are all very thirsty to find peace within.
Mhm.
This is a time where there's such a turmoil going on in our world, not just in the US, but all over the world. And Wendy, you brought it up earlier when we were talking about, how the world is just sort of going crazy, bonkers, and and we know for a fact that there is something happening with the entire universe. This disruption that is happening is for the better, and all the negativities are coming out also for the better, because if it didn't come out, we wouldn't be able to release it. So just like we do in our own work, we allow things that are not the energies that are not very good for us, that we've been hoarding for a while, repressed energies, we allow those energies to come out, to be seen, and then to usher it out. So I think this couldn't have been a better time for these venerable monks to be here and to teach us some lessons that I think we're all really, really ready to make that next level jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got some people who have popped on, so I'm just going to check the chat. If anybody wants to pose a question to Monica about the monks and her visit with them, shoot us a question. But I saw, I don't think I knew you were doing that. I just happened to catch a photo on social media.
Oh, you did. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened so quickly, as in there was a very, I mean, it was no plan, wasn't planned for us to even go see. It just popped up as a invite, and we had to grab that. And we're so grateful that uh, the president invited us. Is such it probably would be my highlight of this year,
Oh my gosh, I'm
definitely. Yeah.
sure. Now, can you keep in touch with him?
Well, I may have to go to the monastery, I suppose, in Fort Worth, Texas, which has crossed my mind more than once, and I'd love to do that and go visit him and just offer a debt of gratitude to him and to all of the other monks for this noble act, what they've done and how they've been sort of quietly with no big noise, not no drum roll, or they're just quietly, peacefully walking. And through their walk, I know there's so much out there. I know there are questions for
Oh, I know.
everybody, but I think the key, as we know, we've talked about it too here on this platform as well. The meditation is so important. And if we don't do a full blown meditation, if we just simply take time, I tell this to clients all the time, 3 times a day, if you make time to breathe, once in the morning when you wake up, once before you sleep at night, and then once in the middle of the day. A lot of the times, the people I work with are so busy. They're like, have very hectic lives, and they say, "I'm so busy, I don't have time." And I tell them, you know what? When you're busy, this is what Buddha says. When you're busy, you need to meditate even more. That's when you truly need it. And we don't have to do massive meditation, but simply just breathing, just observing your breath, it does wonders for us when we just simply pause and breathe. I do it too many times a day. I do my work all day long. I'm working with clients, but sometimes I have to just like switch off and just get into that state. It's beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
know. I know. I definitely noticed the days. I mean, I do it probably 99% of the time,
Yeah.
but there is sometimes for whatever reason, I don't, and it does feel off.
It feels off, right? Yeah, yeah. No, it's such a it's a necessity. I don't even think it's a choice. I think we
No.
are all just, and a lot of the times people will say to me, "But I breathe all the time. Isn't that enough?" I say, "Yes, that's good. I'm glad you're breathing, but breathing with awareness uh, is so important." And if you just like observe, sometimes just observing your thoughts, observing those triggers as well.
Yeah.
We all have these triggers. Best of us have these triggers, um, and many a times when we're around certain people and they are saying things, and it might be a personal, a jab at you too, not at you but at anybody, even if it's to a specific person, it could be to me as well. But what happens immediately, normally, normal people will think, what's going on? Why is this person doing this? And what have I done? And personalizing it. So what I've found over the years that has helped is that to not personalize it, to not take it personally, because when someone says something to you in a hurtful manner, um, what I've understood is that it's very little bit to do with me or the person who's receiving that comment, or but it's got a lot to do with it speaks more about the person himself or herself than it is the person who's receiving that.
Yeah. I always say be Forrest Gump, right?
See again.
Be Forrest Gump.
Be force.
That's
Yeah,
what I say. Be Forrest Gump.
yeah,
Sometimes I watch that movie and it's such a great reminder.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I know. I know.
Do we have any questions? Anybody?
No, not yet.
Not yet. We
Not
love
yet.
questions.
I don't know.
We love
Someone said to
questions.
me about the monks, they were like, I hope no one hurts the monks on the walk. And I said,
Oh,
no, but I said the monks are protected.
they
Like,
are.
I think their energy, because they're not fearful, right? I mean, it's
Right.
almost like it probably couldn't happen.
Right. Although, did you hear the story where they were walking someplace? I don't know where they were. Some other state, not Virginia, but there was in some other state where there was some person who was not very kind to them and said some mean things. And what I found was so amazing is that the leader monk just handed him a flower and said, "I wish you well. I wish you peace." And he just kept walking forward. And so true in what we were just sharing earlier is that um, not to hold it in. When someone mistreats us or treats us in a way that is not very polite or kind, uh,
Mm,
the best way to approach that would be to just bless them and
mhm,
walk and not have any make any time to you know to engage with them. I
mhm,
think the more we engage in those situations, um, it tends to those thoughts tend to linger longer in
mm,
us, and that is what then we refer to as repressed energies that have stayed within us. And
mhm.
as a person who channels and works with removal of energies, this is exactly what stays on.
Yeah.
And so it's so important for us to recognize that, but also not to have thoughts that might be harmful to the person that is saying something to us, even because it also goes into the book of karma. I know we talk about karma all the time when we do these conversations, but there is such a close tie with it. Buddhism came out of Hinduism, and even though it might be like a religion, it's more like the way Hinduism is. We feel like it's more like a way of life. It's just a way of life is how you live, and you live by these few rules, and if we can all follow those, we'll
Yeah.
have really good lives this lifetime and next lifetime, and
Mhm.
then also it affects our whole kith and kin as well. It's just such a
Yeah.
you know just to have clean thoughts, good thoughts, um, compassion,
Mhm.
loving kindness. It's
Yeah.
all good stuff, right?
When people have road rage,
Yeah.
um, my sister is one of those people. But what I do is in the car, and I don't get offended by it because I figured maybe they're in a hurry or whatever.
Yeah, right.
But if someone gets angry, and let's say I just do the peace sign.
I like that.
They don't know what to do.
I like that. That's cool.
you know, um, because they're expecting a reaction from you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just keep going,
Peace. Yeah.
kind of funny
That's
thing.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That
I
is
know.
awesome. It's better to have those two fingers up. Yeah.
Yeah, you did one. I'll give you two for your one. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I
Yeah.
know, it's funny.
Hilarious. That is
I know.
pretty funny.
And then I was, speaking of peace, I try to go every week to my yoga class, and it was packed. I mean, like packed, like all the spots were taken, which is a little unusual. And at first I thought, oh, geez, it's packed, and it's hot. So, there's but I was reminded that I always love it more when there's more people in there because the energy of all the other people.
Yes.
And
Yes.
this particular type of yoga, you do 26 poses, and so most everybody is very seasoned, and I'd say maybe 50% or 60% of the room have their eyes closed
Mm.
during the stability class. And so I don't know, it's very different if there's just five in the room.
Yeah, that's right. Because
It's-
you can kind of feel the energies, and no matter what the energies are, um, I mean, does it affect you, Wendy, when you're around all kinds of people with different types of energies? Does it
Mhm,
do you
mhm.
feel triggered by them or affected by them?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sensitive. Hmm.
Well, what happens?
I feel like I can, the anxiety, I can feel it. It's not mine. You know,
Correct.
I can
It's
tell
not.
I can tell the difference. It's not my anxiety, but
Mhm.
I can feel the atmosphere of anxiety.
Yeah. And do you feel like, you got to escape, like leave that space, or do you just hang around or
I think I used to. I can control it better now.
good. Awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, well, we have a question. How does one not engage with unnecessary thoughts?
Ooh, great question. How does one not engage with unnecessary thoughts? So as we have talked about, is first step is to observe those thoughts. So the thoughts are coming in. You can easily give it a name and say, "Oh, it's just a thought." It's like clouds passing by, and not engaging with it. So let it just come and let it just move. Let it just keep moving, right? Um, because that's part of the letting go as well. So let's say if your thought that you're receiving, if the thought could be, say, let's say the thought is a damaging one,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we all get those kinds of thoughts from time to time, thoughts that emerge from where? Where do the thoughts come from? First thing to recognize is when thoughts are coming, they're coming from the mind, right? It's not coming from the heart, it's coming from the mind. And then the mind is tied in to the ego. Ego and mind are sort of synced in together. So no matter what the thought is, it's definitely coming from a space of mind. So it's critical for us to pause, breathe and pause, and observe those thoughts and allow those thoughts to just pass, not hang on to them, not to engage with them, but to just let it go, right? And so I guess your question might be is what if it keeps coming? Then you keep observing it. So the more you give it attention, it's like a child or a dog. You know, if you have a dog, if you've ever owned a dog or you have a little child, they always want our attention. Dogs want our attention too. And what happens to a dog when the dog does not receive the attention that it's seeking? Just like a little child, what will the dog do? Will maybe misbehave or try to jump on you, maybe jump on pieces of furniture or start scratching or running around, or that's because the dog may feel not being heard, not being seen. So thoughts are kind of like that. They just want to be noticed. So, but notice without judging and noticing without engaging, two big things. And so as they keep passing around, and if the same thoughts repeat back again over and over again, what might help you is if you um, disassociating yourself from what is coming to you, letting it go. So noticing it and saying, I let go, I let go, and just let it go. So big difference between when you say it as affirmations versus feeling it in the body. So we've talked about, how do we read energy? How do we feel our own energies before we can feel others' energies? We have to be really big masters of feeling ourselves. So this is a good practice. If you have these thoughts coming to you, continually feeling that you are not associated with that. That's the first step. Looks like there's a follow-up question. Knowing I'm right, fact-based, yet letting go. I have recently, but they've stayed in my thoughts. What do you describe as regurgitation? What you describe as regurgitation? Okay, so um, so you're saying that those thoughts have remained in your mind as thoughts? Is that what you're saying? Is Are the thoughts just staying in? Could you please clarify that question? Are you saying that those thoughts, is it the similar thoughts that just keep staying in?
Yeah, we'll give her a minute.
Okay.
See if she comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So those thoughts, the same thoughts stay in because they are
She's
because it's so yes, so it's like an ego-based thing, isn't it? So if you're saying that it's fact-based and that you're right, the need for us, our thoughts to say that it's right, that I am right and someone's wrong, that again comes in to the statement of ego, right? The ego. So we've got to let that go too. So is it important for us to be right or is it important for us to be kind? That's the question. So when we're in a relationship and when we are discussing or arguing something, um, what is more important? Is the relationship more important or is it important to be right? And then how do we say that in a way that it's kind? So there are many layers that go around. How do we take that? How do we respond to something that is happening within us?
Yeah,
Wendy, what do you think?
that happens. I mean, that's, I think, coming up a lot for people with we were talking before we got on about politics.
Yeah,
And, people want to um, get into an argument almost
yeah,
over it. And I have to be very careful because I don't like talking about politics at
yeah,
all. And if you don't respond or if you don't engage with someone, they almost take it as I don't know. I've said, I am very empathetic to all that is happening in the world, but that doesn't mean I have to attach to it,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
But I think there's some people that don't understand that.
that's
They
correct.
think that your lack of engaging in a debate about it
Right.
means something.
Right. And again, it's a play of ego. It's an ego play, that I'm right, you're wrong, or right and wrong doesn't really matter. I mean, it's definitely what you believe in, and it could also be an opinion. But in the end, I think, you know, um, kindness, compassion,
Mhm,
harmony, I think these are big, big words, and these are things that we all need to put into practice day to day.
mhm,
Harmony is so important. Harmony, acceptance, um, and even even the ones that can harm us, to not hold those grudges. That's another thing that ego tends to do, is to hold on to those grudges, and makes us uh, stay away, like, but actually recognizing, this might help everybody, is to really understand the truth of who we are. Once we recognize that, once we accept that who we truly are, is everybody else is just an extension of us. They're all extensions of us. There is no other.
mhm,
There is no other. Like, we are all part of the whole. The whole is a part of us, right? So if we are arguing with somebody, it's like we're arguing with ourselves. A lot of it is that. If we can see it this way, that might help you to not allow those thoughts to get the better of you.
mhm,
Let it pass. Let it
mhm.
just pass, not to, hang on to it. But
Yeah.
breathing could help also. Breathing, in these moments, breathing can help, because breathing serves as a bridge between the mind and the heart. It's a
Mhm.
big bridge. And in our practice, we tend to do this often, is, hang on to that breath.
Yeah.
That breath is so important.
And I think when you are in a conversation with someone and if it turns into an argument or I think if you can remain calm, I think that's when people can hear you. They can hear you the best when you're calm.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah, and through regular breathing and to regular meditation, the calm comes, it becomes a part of you. It just becomes you. You don't have to seek it out. It just is, because the awareness that we talk about, awareness, the awareness is always there. It's not that we have to seek it. It's there. But those layers have to come out first
Mhm,
before we can feel that and see that. And in
mhm,
the out of the body state, that's exactly what happens. Is That's what this, the energy, when you leave the body, as it happened to this body, Monica, right? She was clinically dead, and when she left the body, she was back into that same calm state that you just mentioned, Wendy. The
mhm.
calmness, the peace, the unconditional love, compassion, empathy, all of that exists, and it's very much here.
Mhm.
Very, very few of us can actually connect to it. It's because of all these other disturbances, noise of the three-dimensional world that comes in, and the need for success, the need, whatever success means, it's different for different people. But the striving, the, reaching out, trying to do this, trying to do that, that contentment, calm contentment exists there, but we've got to sort of get there.
Yeah.
Get there meaning we're already there. We just have to get there, meaning we've got to remove those layers that are, coming in the way of us recognizing that it already exists.
Mhm. Yeah. I have a meme that I saw online, and sometimes I'll just take a snapshot and keep them and go back to them. But one of them that I go back to sometimes is kind of relates to this. It says, I let others be in whatever frequency they choose,
Yeah,
without trying to change it.
yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, think about that a lot. Like if someone, just let them kind of do whatever. It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to perturb me or you, or let them do them and you do you.
Yeah.
Let them do them, you do you. That's the best way
Yeah.
to go about it. And because we can't control them,
No,
right? Just
no.
like we feel that we can control our kids, we can control, the only thing we can control is how we respond to something. That's the key. How are we responding? How are we reacting? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Staying in the straight and narrow.
Right, right, right.
That can help.
But it's kind of like this neutral space, I find sometimes.
Yeah,
Whereas-
exactly. Staying in the neutral, because if you try to stay positive, you can, most of us can, but then there's this high and low. There's a quick dip down. And so I think sometimes it's so important for us to just simply, stay in the neutral, as you said, stay in the neutral. And you can go up or down, but then this is your safe landing. You just land into the safe neutrality. And yeah,
It's like your everything changes so much in a day, but if you're in neutrality, you have that choice to more often, I feel like, to
yeah,
change the path or
yeah.
yeah.
Correct. Correct. Yes. No, it's an interesting topic. It's such an interesting topic about our mind. I mean, the mind is it feels so complex and so complicated, right? It seems so very complicated, the mind, because it's a conglomeration of so many lifetimes and all the experiences we've been through that keeps us tied in, anchored really into the past and then the future. And so that gap in between is where peace exists. That is known as the present, PP, the present and peace. So if we can really truly learn to be in that state, that neutrality, that space is where peace exists, not there and there, those two bookends.
Yeah. And it takes time. It takes time. It's like a kind of like a training. But I have a very peaceful existence.
Yeah, we need lots of, the breathing can help on a regular basis. Also, putting these things into practice, really, really practicing, practicing how do we, oh, there's a very good analogy that, not an analogy, but a good point that I would like to make. Somebody asked me this question in one of our sessions, and it's like, when someone says something to me, I get so angry. So I get so angry and I want to retort quickly. I want to just respond quickly. They're saying something. I just want to, like sort of nip that right away, right? And so how do I not do that? Because when I do that, I feel good. And this person said, I actually feel good. And I said, for how long though? And she thought
Yeah.
about it for a while. She said, I don't know. That's a good question. But and then I feel terrible after that. So, I have joked about this before, but it's, you can take it in whichever way you want, but it really works well. Is, when we have a little child and they drop something on the floor, right? What was it? And they would be like, "Can I pick it up and put it in my mouth like piece of
Five
chocolate or
seconds.
something?"
Yeah, yeah,
5-second rule. So I say, well, you can have the 10-second rule with this one or 15-second rule with this one. So, you're in the same meeting all the time with the same person, and this person always tries to, get under your skin all the time. Same person tries to get under your skin, and you feel like you should just say something to them, to that person quickly, right? Do the 10-second rule, 15-second rule. Pause before you respond. And chances are, if you pause long enough, you may not need to respond. But the pausing is so critical, right? Try it out, it works.
Or no, it's good. All right, we have a question coming in from Miguel. How best does one balance confidence while maintaining humility?
Ooh, great question. How does one balance confidence while maintaining humility? That is wonderful. Well, humility is something that, we all have within us. We just have to exercise that. So the best way to do that, I feel, is by constantly living in gratitude. If you're always living in gratitude, then what happens is the feeling of connection is always there. You don't have to really, mm, you know, um, because sometimes when you say confidence, that confidence can sometimes come about as a statement of arrogance if it's not well managed,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then, if we can stay in the state of gratitude all the time, I feel like that can sort of soften the edges of confidence a little bit
Mm-hmm.
by feeling more like this connection, this ability that I have, whatever the ability might be, the confidence is connected to talent, skill sets, experiences, whatever. If you can feel that which we have within ourselves is a extension of the divine, or is
Mm-hmm.
coming from, the gratitude is there because we feel so indebted that this ability, whatever it is that I have, wouldn't be here if I didn't have that connection with the divine, that it's coming through that space. Instantly, humility is there. You feel that, sense of gratitude and gratefulness, and then the confidence won't show up as arrogance. Confidence, nothing wrong in being confident. It's a problem is when arrogance comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Gail, have I answered your question?
We'll see.
It's
Yeah,
really about, feeling that connection with the truth of who we are.
and I think when you're in humility, I mean, we're all here on this earth, but it's we're here, and there's nothing to like. You don't have to earn it, right? I mean, well, I think we're all trying to prove ourselves in some weird way, but we don't have to.
We don't have to, yeah. We
Just
don't have to
being
prove
here is
anything.
enough, right?
Yeah, just being is enough, right? So the doing, that's this big. We talk about this all the time. Is human being, right? We're human beings first, but the human beings are rarely being; they're mostly doing.
Mm-hmm.
Doing is more in the foreground, I feel, and the being has gone to the background. And so now, where we are in our life, this precious moment, is to slowly bring the beingness back in. And the beingness is also connected to the kindness and the compassion and the empathy and the love, that unconditional love. We're all that. We already are that. So the enlightenment, or when we talk about, really, really becoming more aware, the awareness is the first step to that reaching of that enlightenment, that state where you know that you're part of, you are an extension of the divine. That truly is what it is. But knowing it here intellectually, most people will read about these things and say, okay, but actually feeling it and being it and knowing it, there's a big difference between that. So feeling it and embodying it, that's what we are here to sort of discover within ourselves. And it's a beautiful process as we go about doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes automatically, and other times we've got to go through a life-shattering experience, like a, health situation that might afford us the time to explore ourselves. But very few of us actually spend time exploring ourselves because we are always doing something. And that's why it's so important to make time for ourselves in a given day regularly. The
Mm-hmm.
quiet time away from people, even your loved ones, you need some time for yourself to just shut your eyes and just like go in within and, just be. It's a
Just like
beautiful
the monks,
process. Hmm?
the, like the monks.
Like the monks, yes. So important, so important. And I think we all can do it. It's not unattainable. I think we can all do that.
Yeah, and it's free.
And it's free. Yeah. Why not?
I know,
Why
right?
not? I remember when we were little, it was during the time when there were no computers, and certainly there were no cell phones or pagers or anything like that. And I remember, in the afternoons we'd be quite bored out of our wits end, because where I grew up in India, in the afternoons they would sleep. They'd have these siestas, which was so good for you to have that. And everything would shut down, stores wouldn't be open, and things like that. And if I go back to those moments, I feel like those were the best gifts that we had, because that's when creativity came about.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have anything in there, just like make living in that state, being bored, but then having that time to sort of explore ourselves, be quiet and just feel ourselves, which unfortunately our lives are so hectic and busy in this
Mm-hmm.
day and age. And that would be a luxury, I think, if we can
Mm-hmm.
all reach that, find that, right? Our calendar is always packed to the max,
Mm-hmm.
right? So finding that time for yourselves is something we urge you to do.
Absolutely. Right. Any other questions coming in?
Anything. It doesn't have to be about peace. Anything. Any question at all.
Doesn't have to be about.
Anything. Anything.
I know we love questions.
Yeah, we do love questions.
Let me see. Nothing coming in yet.
Okay. Well,
So what's coming up in your sessions, Monica?
what is
What are
coming up in my
people, yeah,
sessions?
what are people seeking?
Well, it's across the board, but currently we are working on a couple people. We're working on really, really. These are people. These are clients who've been around for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years regularly on a weekly basis, or maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that. But very steady ones. Um, they are diving deeper within to see these patterns that are appearing in their lives, that have sort of been there forever, but they couldn't really, pinpoint them. And so as we channel and as we tap into those areas, um, so the big thing, and I don't mind sharing this here on this platform, is because the reason I feel called to sharing it is because I think it impacts many people, more people than they might, than people might even know about. And it's about their relationships that they have with another energy, money,
Mm.
with money. And there was this one person I've been working with who forever, like 40 years, forever, 40 years, the whole entire lifetime, maybe 40, 50 years even, where they felt like um, they were earning. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were doing the work to earn. However, either money wouldn't come to them, or if they or if they received it, it would quickly leave. It wouldn't stay.
Mm-hmm.
So until we were able to see it, energies were able to see that in them, they didn't even know that that was what was happening in their lives. And as we started showing them, so we're like showing them mirrors rather than just telling them that this is what's happening. We're showing them mirrors. We're showing them what is happening so that they can uncover that for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Energies will sometimes do that. Sometimes the energies will peer in and say, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And other times they will say, these people, now it's our time to sort of show them, teach them how to see that for themselves. So
Yeah.
that's where the awareness comes about. That's where the awareness comes about. It also is a place also where not just awareness in and of itself, but once you get to the place of really knowing those thoughts, understanding those thoughts, you can go to those other layers beneath where you can actually go within yourself. It's almost like you're unearthing, you're taking something, a shovel, and going down and finding these things. And
Yeah.
once they find them, and it's very deep, you really have to go down deep, because then it goes beyond your. So sometimes it's related to your childhood, but many a times in our work, we work with ancestors as well, and ancestral energies. And sometimes what we found is that these ancestral energies have played a role in how they operate
Yeah.
here and now, which most people cannot discern for themselves. But energies know that, and they're able to say, in your family, this is where it shows up. Doesn't matter which timeline, it doesn't matter the timeline, but it matters that it's a repetitive pattern that is showing up. Which, because they don't know why it's happening, sometimes they're like, I don't know, I don't think I had a bad relationship with money necessarily, but why? But you're right, I didn't know that it existed, but you're right, it is something that has been a part of my entire lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things we're working on. And then let's see, what else have we been working on? We've been working on some health issues too
Yeah.
that keep repeating itself. They're repeating. And, when health concerns happen, when health situations happen in the physical body, most people will think that something else is happening in the physical body. Maybe I'm not eating right. Maybe I'm, not doing this. I'm not exercising enough. These different things are happening, but without really understanding that there's something more
Mm-hmm.
than meets the eye. There's something more to the scenario than what meets the eye. So I'll pause. I think there's some questions coming up. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In what ways do you believe that technology can help engender peace, or is it mainly likely to disrupt it?
ooh,
Yeah,
great
that's a great.
question. That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. In what ways do you believe technology can help engender peace, or is it mainly likely to disrupt it? Well, technology in and of itself is not the issue. It's about how we are using it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the problem lies, or not really a problem, but that's, I think, where we need to be more. We need to pay more heed to how it is and our relationship with technology. In and of itself, I think it helps us, but I think, like, for example, this is a common example, but for example, a computer. We won't. A computer is very useful. We need it, and but it has its place, and we shouldn't be taking the computer into the restroom, or even in our bed when we're sleeping at night, right? So I think we have to clarify what our relationship is with that technology.
Yeah.
And can that promote peace? Can technology promote peace? Maybe. But I think the peace really exists within ourselves, and we really need to find that peace. It already exists there.
Yeah. I mean, the big talk now is AI and the
Yeah.
fears around that, and that's never something that's worried me because I don't perceive it like that. It's just the new latest and newest technology out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So we're gonna figure it out and
Yeah. So, I mean, it can be problematic, I suppose, if we allow ourselves our peace to be disrupted.
yeah, it in of
Right.
itself isn't.
In an office. So it's not a problem, but I think if we engage with it in ways that are detrimental, then of course it's going to destroy our peace. But the peace exists within us, so that's important for us to know, that once we can tap into that peace, it's always there. It's no matter what happens on the external world, whether it's noise and chaos or technology or anything else, that shouldn't, impact the way we live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
I
great
hope
question.
I've answered your question.
We have another question. Could you share something about patience, please, with oneself and with respect to my 3D reality?
Yes. Could you share something about patience, please? Okay. Patience. So patience, would you say patience is different from tolerance, or is it the same?
Hmm. Oh, fabulous points. Thank you from the last
Okay,
question.
thank you, thank you. Glad it resonated. So patience, right? So patience is something, um, if you consider patience to be something that you are trying to find or that is already there with you, that's the other question.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Do you believe, I'm asking this question, do you believe that patience exists within you, or whether you feel that it needs to be cultivated? Wendy, what do you think?
I think it exists.
Yeah, it exists. It exists. So if it already exists, you should already be tapped connecting to it within yourself, right? So I guess your question could be, tell me if this is not how you are intending for me to understand. But what I'm understanding from your question is, let's give an example. Say somebody is not behaving in the way that you want that person to behave, and you you are feeling upset and angry at that person, and you feel the need to control that person, but you know you need to be patient. So in that scenario, if you feel that, I'm just reading your energy. If that's where you are coming from with the question you're asking, then the best way to have patience is to first do the same thing we told you earlier, which is breathing. Breathing makes you calm down, settle in, and after about 15 seconds, 10 seconds to 15 seconds, chances are you would not feel anger, upset, resentment, any of that. Try it out and let us know if that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't
Any
think.
other questions?
Mm-mm.
And we'd love for you to share too if you have anything to add. Anybody on this platform can jump on the chat and answer too.
Yeah, well, talking about breathing, I think sometimes we think we're breathing, but it's a very shallow.
Yes,
It's too
indeed,
shallow, I think.
indeed, indeed. This is a shallow breath, and I think most of us do breathe shallow for the most part. And we would find that we were doing that more so when we're anxious. When we get anxious, we get upset, we're angry. If you notice that your breath will be definitely, definitely shallow. So the deep breathing, once you put that into practice and you do it regularly 3 times a day, your breath will start to reorganize itself and you'll be able to breathe that way all the time.
Over time, do you think that your nervous system starts to regulate a little?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. The more you're engaged in that practice, absolutely, you will find that your nervous system just goes into this, you know, uh, just calms down, parasympathetic, right? Just calms down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good place to be.
It is a good place to be. It's a calm place to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you all like to breathe with me?
Oh, yeah. Do you have a, well, tell us, do you have a technique that is there one specific? I know like in yoga, sometimes they have us do different things before class, different, um,
What do you do? What do you all do?
what do they call it? The ocean's breath in one of my classes. Where you breathe in, you hold, you breathe in 5 seconds, hold,
Mhm.
and then, it's a intentional inhale, a pause, and an intentional exhale.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when you get the hiccups. The
Mhm.
reason you have the hiccup is because you're not breathing. It's a
Correct.
shallow in. It's one of them shallow inhale. I can't remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
mhm.
That's one way of breathing. The other way is the box breathing, which people do, which is like a four inhale, 4 times hold, 4 times. So times meaning seconds. So
Mhm.
the best way to describe it is 4 seconds inhale, hold for 4 seconds, and 4 seconds exhale. That's one way. But in my practice, when we are working with clients, because my work is not traditionally meditation, although the first part of it is, and then we fuse in the channeling, which requires us to have you in a state of breathing, and then we start bringing energies in to sort of move things around and in, intuitively seeing into you all and sensing things and pulling it out. It's kind of a lots going on in that time. But the simple breathing that I have urged everybody to do is when you breathe in, we can do this here. So when you breathe in, just take the breath in, feeling the breath sort of rising up slowly up to your nostrils and feeling that breath, actually full breath coming into your body and letting it rise all the way up to your scalp. And when you exhale your breath, just watch it leaving all the negativities that being drained from your system. So you don't have to visualize it necessarily, but you just observe it like that and feeling that when you're exhaling, you're releasing it. You don't even have to follow the breath all the way down to your toes, but just notice that when you let it go, the letting go is critical to allow it to grow. So we're not really changing the breath so much. We're not working on the counting so much, but we're just feeling that inhale, the full inhale. So beautiful energies are coming in through your nostrils. You're just feeling that beautiful energy coming in and going up as if it's filling your body. You just get feel this, feeling of everything is getting filled up and energizing you. And when you exhale your breath, you're letting go of what you don't need. So this is the breath that really is on the superficial level around you. And I would say 20% of the work can be done by each of you when you breathe like this. And when you let it go, you're simply just letting go, like you're letting it go, allowing to free out of your system all the negativities. So that which you've accumulated through the day, right? That's why 3 times a day, and particularly the last one would be just before your bedtime, before you really, really fall asleep. If you can completely let go, it resets you for the night. So you just flush it out. So even if you don't know what energy work is, you don't have to know anything. Just feeling that breath and feeling that energy in the body. And as you keep doing it, we found that clients will say they can actually feel it coming in and feeling it going out. So another way to describe it or another way to understand it for yourself is by associating an inhale with a specific color and associating the exhale with another color. So you can say like beautiful green light is coming in or some other light is coming in. You don't have to visualize it. We're not asking that, but you can just feel if you are connected, if you're say an artistic person, you have a connection with color. You can visualize some type of a color coming in and some other color going out. It doesn't have to be, brown or black or gray. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Just feeling it out. The reason why we sometimes feel a color is very good because it's kind of it takes it away from our mind going into um, words or labels. Many a times when we first do this work, clients will say, oh, I could feel anger coming in, or I felt this and I felt that, and then they get very tied into those emotions, anger, and then they start thinking about, oh my gosh, this person always angers me, and then they go into that. Everything that we're trying not to do is what they end up doing, so it negates the whole process. So what we urge them energies will say is that it's better for us to associate with something neutral, like a color is not neutral necessarily, but a color is a visual concept, and that way you're not personalizing it. You just look at it as a color coming in, color going out, and that's it. So you can do that for about a minute to start, and then I would say as you keep moving along, maybe do it for 5 minutes, and then you can slowly increase it to the point where you just sort of go in a state. And in this kind of work also, we don't have to be seated upright, which in Buddhism, in the Buddhist traditions, you have to sit upright, you keep a back erect. And here actually in this type of work, we are encouraging clients to lie down.
Hmm.
It's a better experience when you lie down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wendy, you can speak to your
I
experience.
can. Yeah. When we were working together, oh my gosh, it's been like 9 years ago, right?
Yeah.
When we started.
Yes,
Yeah. But I would, yeah, I would lay down.
you lay down.
Hmm.
A much better experience, right? Yeah. Because then if you go off to sleep, it's just as well because then your mind is not engaged. In this kind of work, we don't want our minds to be engaged. So
Hmm.
you just go off into a zone. Sometimes you feel like you're sleeping, but many a times it may not be that you're sleeping. It might be that you've gone into a zone, like a
Hmm.
meditative state, and then that's great because your mind is not activated and you have a better experience like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, looks like we're time barred.
I know. We're about an hour. Well, this was fun.
I hope useful for those that will watch later.
Hmm.
Um, it's important, repeating again, breathing, 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 very important. Important for our peace, important for our calmness, being calm within. Patience already exists.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Yeah, these are important elements I think that we all have within ourselves, and is to connect to it again. So,
Yeah. All right, Wen, thank you for sharing your story about meeting the monks. That
oh,
was a treat.
thank you for having me back here again. It's
We'll do it again soon.
yeah, looking forward. And thank you all for those who are here and asking great questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.